And welcome to another Black Friday. Okay, today's show was inspired by black people who were given the chance at a great opportunity, put in the position to grasp a great opportunity, and they blew it. Now, before we dive into today's topic, I want to point out the obvious. Although we still have progress to make, black people today have better opportunities than black people did in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s. Do y'all agree?
Oh yeah,
I agree.
definitely.
Okay, with that being said, I want to ask a rhetorical question. Are black people playing the cards they were dealt, or are they complaining about the cards they were dealt? Now, that's a rhetorical question, right? Again, are the black people today playing the cards that they were dealt, or are they complaining about the cards that they were dealt? Now, I assume that we all know how to play cards in some way, shape, or form. Spades, tunk,
Pity pat.
pity pat,
Yeah.
blackjack,
Uno.
or for the country folk, coon king.
Who?
Some can, some can't. Now, using the card game analogy, the card game that we playing is the game of life. Now, the hands that we dealt are based upon 4 cards given to us at birth. Card number 1, good parenting. Card number 2, opportunity for good education. Card number 3, genetics, meaning big, strong, fast. And card number 4, talent, whatever that talent may be. Now, notice I didn't say good financial situations because I know that, hey, finances is not everything. It's not everything. But based upon those 4 cards, do y'all agree or disagree that those are some pretty good cards?
Yeah, I think they are.
Yeah. I mean, especially financial, you gotta have something stable there some kind of way.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, notice I didn't say financials. The cards that I dealt was good parenting,
Good parenting.
opportunity at a good education, genetics, big, strong, fast, and talent, whatever
Yeah.
that talent may be.
Yeah,
Those
nah,
are the
no,
cards.
yeah.
So
Those are
here's
good,
here's the
yeah.
thing.
Now, do you think that those are good cards you were dealt in life?
Those
at
are
birth?
yes.
For me, personally.
Yeah, just period.
Period.
Like, I intentionally didn't say finances.
Right,
let me
because
tell you why.
Everybody wasn't born with finances.
Exactly.
I get it.
Yeah, and that's why you said an opportunity for education. So and that's why I wouldn't exclude that. That is a good one because everybody's offered that opportunity. But 2 of those are not. Even if you get those cards, they're not promised to be played.
No,
Is what I'm
hear what
saying.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
At birth, these are the cards you're dealt. You ain't got no problem. These are the cards you were dealt. So what you gonna do with this hand?
Gotcha. Gotcha.
What
yeah,
are you
yeah.
gonna do with this hand?
Right. Yeah.
You got good parenting.
Yeah.
You got an opportunity at education. You got the genetics. You big, strong, and fast, and you got talent. Whatever that talent is, those are the cards you're dealt. Do you think that you were dealt a good hand?
Yeah,
Yes.
I say yes.
definitely.
Okay. Now, with that being said, I want to go and talk about some people that I got listed here, and I want to share a little story. And then we want to take a look at the cards that they were dealt. So the first story I want to talk about is this guy. He's a rapper named G-Dep. And G-Dep used to be with Bad Boy back in the day in the 90s. And he was a rapper out of Bad Boy. And and he got a pretty good deal with upfront money or so forth. I want to say damn near 400,000 signing up front or something like that. But for the most part, he was a rapper. Now, he never blew up, but he had the opportunity, right? Now, let me give you a little background. He was raised by his grandmother. He graduated high school. He went to college, but he dropped out of college to start a music career. Now, at the age of 18, he did an attempted mugging, and he ended up shooting and killing a person. That was in 1993. By the time 1998 rolled around, he signed his first record deal. He signed with Bad Boy. Now, With that being said, we already know if he was raised by his grandmother, we're gonna assume that she did a pretty good job. So he dealt that card that he had was good parenting,
Right.
right?
Right.
So the next card, he graduated high school and he went to college, so he got education.
Education.
And I just told you he was a rapper.
Talent.
He got the talent card, right? So out of those 4 cards, he ended up getting 3 of those cards.
Right.
Now, y'all tell me, based upon what I just told y'all, and I know that this is a broad question, if y'all don't know the story, what do you guys think that this guy is at right now? Right now, today?
Oh, he's out now.
I don't know.
He went to prison.
He went to prison?
Where is he at?
I'm going to say in the studio trying to make some more music.
Okay. So, let me say this. Yeah, he went to prison, but here's the thing. Y'all know he signed in 1998. He killed that person in 1993. He actually turned himself in 2010.
Oh.
You know why?
Why?
Wow.
Because of his conscience.
Wow.
Because of his conscience. So, here's the thing. My thing is that he never complained about the cards he were dealt.
Damn it, 20 years later.
Man,
He never complained about the cards that he was dealt. And he actually went in and he made amends for what he did wrong. And he ended up doing serving a 13-year sentence on a 15 to life sentence. And he was granted clemency by the governor.
In which he got another good deal
Yeah.
because he was able to get out within 6 months of credit on his existing case. This was something that was offered to him after so much of his time they offered him a 6-month credit, which got him out a little bit sooner. So he still had a good card he was dealt
Right.
at that point in time, you know.
So there was no statute of limitation on
It's
Murder.
There's no statute of
Murder
limitation
is
on murder.
never-
there is no statute.
Never.
Oh,
Never.
Okay.
That's,
yeah.
that's why they got cold cases.
I
and
just thought
stuff.
about
Yeah.
that when I said it. Yeah. Wow.
Murder, stay murder.
Yeah, so man, he didn't complain about the cards he was dealt, but it seems to me out of those 4 cards, he was dealt a pretty decent hand, but he fucked his hand up.
Right.
I think people.
I think we all are dealt a decent hand at giving that birth.
Yeah,
and it's the choices that we make that fuck those hands up. Just like in gambling, you know, blackjack 21, you take a card when you got 20, thinking you go get that
ace.
Yeah.
So what do you say to people, based upon what you just said, K-Money, what do you say to people out there who are listening to you that say, hey, out of those 4 cards, my parents wasn't good. I didn't have good parenting. Out of those 4 cards, I was afforded the opportunity of free education, but I didn't have no clothes to go to school. I was dirty and I couldn't go to school. And as far as genetics, I'm small. I'm small frame. I'm not big. I'm not tall. I'm not fast.
Well, I mean, it depends on who you're asking in regards to you when you say, you know, good parenting, you know, because what I may consider good parenting may not be what the next man considers as good parenting. We all definitely are not born with the genetics to, but you did say, I feel if you have a talent and once you do find what your talent is, it's up to you to exploit that talent and take advantage and, you know, use it to your best ability to get ahead.
So,
but as far as the genetics, you know, some are born with genetics to where, you know, they become great athletes and other things, but it's still really no excuse to answer your question. 3 out of the 4 cards, I feel if you have two out of those 4 cards, you know, you have an opportunity and a chance to make it in this world.
all right. So, could it be during the time period you said he murdered in 1993, right?
Yep.
Wasn't that the time when Bad Boy was the hottest, with Shine, and
He wasn't even signed. He didn't
wasn't
sign
signed
the
yet.
Bad Boy to 1998, 5 years later.
so was he dealing with him at all? Like maybe just talking
No,
or just
he
going to
was
the
just-
studios with him, hanging with
No,
him or nothing?
No, it wasn't. He was a kid. He
So
dropped
what you
out.
trying
He
to
had
say
just
because
dropped
he
out of
was
college.
affiliated with Bad Boy that caused him to make the
Influences,
moves he made?
with Shine, he could have been already probably got introduced by one of the
He got to be
people.
accountable for his own.
I get
actions.
it, and he was. So think about it. 2010, he showed remorse. He turned himself in. So to me, it just shows that back then he probably was on that. I'm getting whatever, doing whatever. But he grew up in 2010 and said, you know what? No, that ain't the way to go. And he probably even figured out back then, one of them instances was, man, I shouldn't be doing this. I ain't should be murdering nobody. And he probably was eating. It probably ate away to him. And he probably wanted to turn himself.
I do commend him for turning himself in
That's what
20
I was
years
about
later.
to say. I respect him for what he did.
Yeah.
Matters what cards he was dealt. That was the wrong hand dealt to him.
Exactly.
Or a mistake, but he made good.
Right.
And that's one of the main things. If you're gonna do something wrong, you got to make good somewhere. Because that's gonna depend on how far you go in life, in anything else, in any venture that you decide to go on. You got to make good on stuff. Because there's one person that's watching you, and he can stop you from doing whatever it is you think you want to do because you didn't make good on one situation.
That could have been the issue that made him, go and confess, because shit wasn't going right for him in that 20
Possibly.
years.
Yeah.
And that's what woke his conscience up and be like, this is probably why bad shit is happening.
That's definitely possible.
Because you just said, hit the nail on the head. It's only one person, that's watching us, and he'll get your attention one way or another.
That's right.
That's good we're talking about this because the 4 cards that you mentioned, Freddie G, I know someone personally, and K Money, you do too. Add a card to that. I know you say we're not, but we're going to add the finance card to this. And this person has the finance cards as well as the other 4 cards that you mentioned previously. And till this day has nothing going for themselves. Could it be they just don't want to use those cards and want someone else to do it for them?
Let me ask you: are they complaining about the cards? Meaning that
Very much so.
man, I can't get no job, or I can't do this.
Very
or,
much so.
Oh man, these white folks doing this.
Very much
Are
so.
they complaining about the cards that
You
they
hit
get?
everything you just said. They name you just did. Yes, very much so.
So K Money, you mentioned what might have caused him to turn himself in. Well, he had some issues with his wife, and she fell into a drug-induced situation, probably with that on her mind.
Yeah.
And he knew that that's what was eating her up, and it wasn't going to be right, and she probably wasn't going to be right until he turned himself in, and she probably gave him hell. You know what I mean?
Possible,
About
very
you know
possible.
what you did, you
Yeah.
need to turn yourself in. She didn't feel safe, I think, was what the drugs was about. The drugs may have taken a part to where she said, I got to be high to be around this
Helping
dude.
her to cope.
Helping her cope with
Yeah.
knowing that her husband did the shit he did, and that probably tore him up, but I still commend him for turning himself in, because now what you're saying is you want your family life to be stable. You want your wife's life to be stable mentally as well as physically. So he knew his life wasn't going to be right, long as your wife not stable.
That's a great point, Slash. That's a real good point.
That's how I feel. I just, from looking at the story.
Yeah. So this next guy, right? Before I reveal his name, what I want to do is I want to tell you the cards that he was dealt. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you financially where he was in the peak of his career. Right? So we all know the cards. The cards are good parenting, opportunity for education, genetics, meaning either big, strong, or fast, and talent. Now, here are the cards that this guy was dealt. And I'm always going to give the benefit of the doubt when it comes to parenting. I'm always say, okay, yeah, you come from a good family, right? So I'm going to say this guy was dealt with good parenting. here's something about his mom. His mom was a school teacher. His stepdad worked for the airlines.
Middle class.
Yeah. So and I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt, say he's good parenting, right? Now, here's where he dropped the ball. He's a high school dropout. And he can't read or write. Now, keep in mind, his mama is a school teacher. His mama was a school teacher. He's a high school dropout, and he can't read or write. So there on the education side, he dropped the ball. Now, I'm sorry, Slash, go ahead.
I just want to say this. His mom's a teacher. He dropped out of school. When was that?
Well, I don't have the year that he
It
dropped
doesn't.
out.
So here's my thing.
But when I tell you who he is.
But what I'm going to exclude now that we talked about the 4 cards is good parenting.
Okay.
Because there's no way you're a school teacher and your child can't read. I don't give a damn if you ain't but 6, 7 years old. You're going to know how to read if your parent is good parenting and she's a teacher. So that card, we can throw that out.
Okay.
That's
So,
a fact.
so that's a good point. Now, let me ask you this. Can you say that there are people out here that can't read or write, but they fool everybody and nobody never knew?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Most definitely.
sometimes you get good at it, and so much so you can fool your
You
parents.
can fool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because there are people out here that can't
That
read
can
or
do
write.
it. Right.
So, but you made a great point, Slash. So, the next one is talent. Now, this guy.
Hold on, you ain't tell us who that one was.
Well, he
No,
was waiting
I'm still
until.
going.
Yeah,
I'm
I think
gonna
he's going to
wait.
tell
Okay,
us
my
I'm
out.
gonna tell you who it is.
I sure want to know who this person
I'm
is.
thinking
Yeah,
I know,
I
but
do too.
So this next guy, he's talented. He have multiple talents. Now, I'm going to combine his talents with his genetics because he have multiple talents. Genetically, he's 6'1", and he can hoop. And he played basketball for like a little small league. It's called the United States Basketball League. Now, he's also a singer. He's also a singer. Now, with that being said, I want to tell you guys at the peak of his career how much Slash don't cheat. I want to tell you at the peak of his career, he made $100 million at the peak of his career.
Wow.
Now what I want to do is I want to tell you, and this is according to Celebrity Network. At the peak of his career, he made $100 million. Now let me tell you what his net worth is now. Minus $2 million.
damn.
Oh my.
So I'm going to reveal who he is. Now that you know all of this, did he play his cards?
No,
Hell no.
Nah, hell nah.
he screwed that up.
He screwed it up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me why he screwed up. How he screwed
Well,
up.
because the simple fact, you got there, you had an opportunity for the financial part. You could have just took that alone and said, damn, everything else, and made something shake with that. You could have said, okay, my career, I did good. I'm stopping here. Let me take my money. Let me invest
There you go.
in something. You know, even if you still want to sing, you got this amount of money. You can make some other stuff happen with that. So he dropped the ball completely.
Okay.
I mean, it's remarkable to at his peak to have made
$100 million,
not
yeah.
being able to write or read. You know, that's what I find
Right.
remarkable. And I agree, Slash. You know, after making that amount, somehow, some way, you should have flipped that and still been. You know, I can't see how
Especially knowing
net-
you can't write or read.
Right.
Read or write, rather.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I know who you're talking about now.
I know you know. I know you know.
He played his cards all wrong, all the way across the board.
Okay, now Slash, I know you know. So Comedian 96 and K Money.
R.
Do you,
Kelly.
who?
R. Kelly.
Yeah. R. Kelly.
That's who I
That's who
originally.
he talking about.
R.
That's
Kelly.
exactly
thought
who
you
he's
were
talking about.
Then
R.
you threw
Kelly,
me.
yeah.
He
Do it.
played his cards all wrong.
I threw you with the basketball, K
Yeah,
Money.
yeah.
He played basketball.
Oh, he
too.
can hoop too.
Well, now the read and write part, not knowing how to read and write, kind of screwed him too, because he had to have a spokesperson or a manager to look over the deals, and that's what screwed him.
Yeah.
The people around him,
He
that
can't
manager.
keep his dick in his pants.
Hey, and then you messing with underage adults. He said it in so many of his songs. I don't want to
Underage
change.
adults.
Yeah.
I don't want to change the topic of this show, but it's one song he said. Remember this song? So show me some ID before I get you deep into you. I don't see.
Yeah.
Why do you need ID?
In a song.
But no, he covered up the fact that he didn't want to see no ID by saying, show me some ID
yeah.
to throw the people off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he was smart, because if you could pass your parents and they know and they don't know you can't read, then you can damn sure try to fool a crowd of people that listen to your music.
True.
Smart man. Just played his cards
Hell,
wrong.
His net worth now though is negative $2 million. I mean, he don't
Well-
he didn't own his catalogs, obviously. Well, I know
No, he didn't.
one of them.
One he lost to Aaliyah.
Aaliyah, right?
And he
first
lost
album.
that $14 million home to his ex-wife. She took that. And then not to mention how much he probably spent on court cases and attorney's fees and legal fees.
God
Yeah,
Damn.
So now this next guy, right? What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take you the card, tell you his cards first, and then I'm gonna tell you a little bit about him. So here's his cards: good parenting. His mom and dad were married when he was born, and his dad was rich. Education. He went to college. Genetics. He's big, strong, and fast like his dad. His talent? Football. Now, those are some pretty good cards, right? Now, this guy, he played 9 years in the NFL from 2004 to 2013. He's currently serving 14 years in California prison. His criminal history includes, keyword criminal history,
Yeah.
I know this is.
includes in 2003, when he was 19, he was charged with raping an unconscious 17-year-old girl. January 2014, he was arrested for drug possession and bonded out. June 7th, 2018, he was arrested for first-degree burglary and bonded out for $50,000. June 14, 2018, he was arrested for kidnapping and raping 2 women, bonded out for $2 million, and was put on a GPS monitor. March the 4th, 2019, his bond was revoked for 2 counts of lewd conduct and 1 count each of battery of an elderly and willfully cruelty to an elderly. On February the 19th, 2021, he agreed to accept a 14-year prison sentence. Now, this guy is Kellen Winslow II.
Tampa Bay Bucks.
No, his daddy was Kellen Winslow, the tight end for San Diego Chargers. Kellen Winslow, Hall of Famer Kellen Winslow.
It sounds like to me that this dude was just in the devil's playground or something.
Yeah,
Because nothing he did made sense.
Yeah, sometimes you just don't care about your cards. You just do what you want to
elderly
do.
people, what are you doing?
Well, I mean, and I think he may have been one of those spoiled
because his dad had the money.
Yeah.
And they do turn out like that. But somewhere, if you had the right parenting, some of that's not going.
Should have been fixed.
Exactly.
Should have been.
So now here's what his attorneys were saying, about him. But you can't prove this until he's dead. That he shows signs of CTE.
Oh, yeah.
So why is that something you can't prove until he's dead?
Because they got to look at
They
your
did
brain.
the autopsy.
They got to look
gotta
at your
do
brain.
your brain.
It's in your
See if
brain.
it's
Search
actually
on your
there.
brain.
Yeah.
Damn.
Can't do it before.
And so you got people on CTE that does crazy. I think Antonio Brown got CTE.
Yeah, he kind of act like it.
Yeah.
And
He kinda act
Junior
like-
Seau committed suicide.
Yeah.
We just talked about Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
He seems as if something is terribly
Kinda
wrong with
wrong.
him. Because we was talking about Hollywood, and did Hollywood make him that way? But he's just typically just kind of, not on the bright side at all.
Yeah.
Now notice all of these guys. Of course, all of these people were black, right? But let me ask y'all: in your personal lives, whether in high school, whether in your neighborhood, whatever, in your personal life, do you know people who are actually, and if you got a story, not naming a name, do you know people who actually were dealt decent cards, those 4 cards, and they blew it?
Donald Trump.
No, in your
In
neighborhood.
your neighborhood. Somebody in your neighborhood. And that's what I said earlier. Yes, and I added the money with it, the 5th card, and they blew it.
Yeah, I know somebody. It's actually a relative of mine. They had a promising football career. They had the cards I know that they had for a fact was good parenting, genetics, and the talent. Now, what was that 4th card I'm leaving out? Education.
Okay.
Possibility.
Well, they did have that opportunity also, and that's where
Opportunity,
they fucked up at. In furthering their education when they went to college, just didn't apply themselves like they could have and should have, because they would have been in the league had they done what they were supposed to do. So,
I will say, it's not an excuse, but the area that you live in can play a big factor in it. If you're
Of what though?
of
A factor
you
of.
being led astray and not using your cards,
But no, it's
Because-
still the individual. You have a choice.
I get it. But
You have a choice. I mentioned that before we started recording today, that some people have these chances, and we all walk outside to the same stuff going on. But it's some guys that don't get distracted with what's going on over here. We come from the same place. We walk past the same people on the street, the same opportunities.
True.
So it's still the individual, I think, is held solely responsible for a lot of stuff. Because where you come from, it ain't about where you come
And
from.
look at it this way. You ever try to talk to a girl and the first time she didn't bite, the second time she didn't bite, third, but as long as you wear her down, eventually she gives in. If someone sits in their community for so long and they're constantly being pressured to do wrong, eventually, I'm not saying all, eventually it's possible for them to break and say, let me go left, and be like, God dog, the one
Now-
time I went left, I'd have murdered
I
somebody.
get that, but
You know
what
what I'm
I'm trying to, what I can't, I guess, put myself with is the chase part. When you talk about the girl, first time she didn't, second time she didn't. See, third time I'm
You done.
I know.
Yeah, I ain't finna
But
play with you.
sometimes, like at work, Urkel say, I'm wearing you down, baby. I'm wearing you down. It's one of them. It's you sit in the hood for so long, they will wear you
And
down.
now, don't get me
you'll
wrong.
end up selling dope and be like, man, we just selling dope on the side of the curb. over
I
here.
totally get it. And I know people who I feel that way about. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You actually had the right mind frame, and you had the power, and you had the raising, the good parenting to not get caught up in what you see in the streets on a daily basis.
Right.
But sometimes, man, we just got to be strong. We got to be stronger than what other people give us credit for.
That's true.
Because immediately when they look at you, they saying he can't do it. You know what I mean? So we have to if we got good parenting, we got the education, we got the talent or whatever it is, and the genetics are there where our parents ain't just stupid, then we got to some kind of way say, you know what, I'm going to take the responsibility for my life and who I am, and I'm going to try to make something of myself.
All right.
You know, you can't always just sit and say, oh, because I was in the hood, I started drinking 40 ounces and I just didn't give a fuck no more.
That was a choice.
You know what I
That
mean?
is true.
You
That's
have
true.
a choice, bro.
Yes,
So
that is true.
I just say, you know, each individual is the one who can make or break themselves.
Correct.
So let me ask y'all. So removing going to prison and jail and drugs. I want to give a scenario and y'all let me know if this person played the cards that was dealt, those 4 cards. Let's say this person got all 4 of those cards. And this person ended up making this person good parenting, went to college, became a college graduate, has talent, has talent and the genetics, and became a pro athlete, whatever sport. And in their career, they earned $10 million. In their career, they earned $10 million. Now, they're no longer in the league, and they're in their early 30s. By the time they turn 40, they actually work at Whole Foods. And they work as a cashier at Whole Foods. They live in an apartment. They don't live lavish. And they no longer have that $10 million. Did they blow the cards?
Yes.
No, that just make you fiscally irresponsible.
No, they blew it.
They blew
You
it.
blew it.
You the cards were nothing financial, remember?
But
You just fiscally
but all
irresponsible.
the cards
You-
that you
The cards that you were dealt
gave you the opportunity.
finances.
Right. You
Yeah.
had it. You
Yeah.
made
Blew
it.
it.
You didn't go to jail. You just overspent your money.
You blew it.
You
That's
fiscally
blowing.
you were- but that
in other
didn't blow
words,
your
so in other words, if you was dealt those cards and you took those cards and you prospered from those cards, you mean that's why I didn't put finances in it, because
Right.
the cards you're dealt, you're gonna take those cards, even if it's just education, you can go land you a 6-figure job, and you're gonna earn the money, right? So. It sounds like what y'all are saying, that if you have all those cards, you never did drugs, you never got in trouble, none of that, and then at some point in your life, at your highest earning potential, you earn $10 million. Now,
10 years later,
10 years
Got
later,
shit to show for it.
well, you have a car,
an apartment.
you have an apartment,
You had $10
and you have
million.
a job.
How much is
so,
your apartment
So
worth?
are y'all saying that this guy dropped the ball?
Yes.
No, I'm gonna tell
saying
you why.
He dropped the ball.
Give you a story. I'm gonna give you a story.
He don't have 10 million no more.
I know, but
he don't have $1 million.
I knew a guy back in the day that robbed banks, right? And they got a lot of money, but they had a family too that were hospitalized. 2 family members that were hospitalized. Life be lifing, ain't that your word?
Yeah, but
so you don't know what this person did with that money. Just because they made it, they might have had medical bills, bills, mama bills.
Understandable.
It's not
But-
that they didn't make the money, because they made it. It just makes them fiscally irresponsible,
And that's fine.
Or just
That's
they just
fine.
ran out of money.
My personal opinion on that situation is, if I had $10 million at 30 years old, there is no way I'm going to be able to face myself at 40 with not $1 million. I shoulda, coulda, woulda. To hell with that.
Oh yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying. I get what you're
And
saying.
I feel that life be life, and
It does.
Yeah,
but
but
$10 million, man.
I know.
Okay, so
I
now,
feel what you're saying, Slash.
same cards. But this person ended up working human resource at MD Anderson Hospital. Same cards.
10 million?
No, same cards. This person.
But they
worked-
never got to 10 million.
No, they just got an education, got good parenting, got education, got good
And
parenting.
you work at MD Anderson Hospital.
And they went and got them a good paying job,
Mm-hmm.
making whatever they make a year, and they're making the money. But the same cards that this other person got.
You played your cards. You played the hand. You did your cards right. Because even though there was no $10 million involved, you got good parenting. That means your parents taught you well. Mm-hmm. Whether you have talent or not, it doesn't matter. You knew it was about taking care of yourself at this point. Mm-hmm. That's the smartest thing any one man could do. Mm-hmm. Take care of yourself. So, yeah, you won. You ain't never got to have $1 million to be good at playing your cards right. But if you've had the money and you screwed it up, you didn't play your cards right.
So, are you saying that people who have that kind of money, $10 million, and they lost it, it's because of a screw up?
It's a mismanagement.
Definitely money mismanagement. I agree with Slash.
It's mismanagement, man.
I mean, if you have $1 million at some point in time, and you've ever been broke, there's no motherfucking way I'm trying to go back to being broke.
Look, I was just watching a YouTuber, and it was so funny because I couldn't believe it. This YouTuber, I think he made, for the year, he made $9 million. But in expenses, he spent over $1 million. And I couldn't believe it because he's young. He's like 22 years old.
That's what they do.
He spent over $1 million in just
bullshit.
Stupid.
That's what they do.
Irresponsible.
So what I say is
money mismanagement.
But you know what most of it was? It was his overhead. It was like $600,000 overhead. But I ain't gonna lie, the other
how much?
Nah, for the year, $600,000 for the year.
And he had how much?
But $400,000 was, cars, clothes, and all that. Yeah. So yeah, part of it was. But I was like, $600,000 to be a YouTuber, $600,000 in overhead. What are you doing?
Because the $10 million, and I'm going back to the $10 million because that's a high dollar amount.
Very high.
Yeah.
You don't have to take that $10 million and go live like a Hollywood star.
You don't. You
mismanaging your money. If you don't have means for that type of income to come back while you have this type of money, you can't spend it.
On the cool, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I think, and this is my personal opinion, knowing what people know, and I know you live in LA or whatever, but if you're not making that kind of money, most of them houses are $1 million houses. You ain't
damn near every house.
You ain't find no $250,000 house. When you got millions, if I was anybody in California, I'd be like, look, I done made a couple $1 million.
I've got to get out of here.
I'm finna get out of here.
That's right.
I'm not finna sit in California. You could take $1 million and probably get through 3 to 4 houses out here in Houston or Mississippi or anywhere else. But to me, I think most people in LA just mismanage in California mismanage money because there's no way you can buy a little bitty house that's $1 million.
Every single household
it don't make sense to me.
Home is damn near $1 million for the average person.
That inflation, man, and cost of living is crazy. So that brings me to my black fact. Today's black fact is on Ulysses Lee Bridgman. Have y'all ever heard of him?
Nah, I haven't. Never heard of this guy.
Okay, his nickname is Junior. Ulysses Lee Bridgman, born September 17th, 1953. He's a former professional basketball player turned businessman. Bridgman played in the NBA for 12 years, from 1975 until 1987. He played with the Milwaukee Bucks and LA Clippers. He was the sixth man for most of his career. Bridgman never earned more than $350,000 a season in the NBA. He managed to parlay his modest salary by today's professional sports standard into a business empire that's estimated net worth of more than $600 million. Bridgman owns 263 Wendy's, 123 Chili's restaurants, a Coca-Cola bottle and distribution company, and in 2020, he bought the iconic Ebony and Jet magazine out of bankruptcy. Now that's a guy who played his cards right. This concludes another dope episode of Black Friday. Tune in next week for Music Monday. Don't forget to follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter, at 52 Scott Podcast, on Instagram and Facebook, the 52 Scott Podcast, and for all my YouTubers, don't forget to like and subscribe.
So all them artificial man,